My presentation is on the phylum Sipuncula, which is also known as the peanut worm. So we're going to start off by talking about the history. So the first species of this phylum was described in 1827 by the French zoologist Henri Marie de Croutry, who named it Sipuncus vulgaris. And a later species was later described as Golfingia mackintoshi by E. Ray Lancaster. And so it got its name because it was dissected by Lancaster while he was playing golf at St. Andrew's Golf Club in Scotland, and then he derived the name from there. So Golfingia is the genus name, and Sipuncula is the name of the phylum to which these worms belong. The taxonomy. So the group contains about 144 to 320 species. This phylogenetic placement of this phylum in the past has been proved troublesome because originally it was classified as an annelid. Despite the complete lack of segmentation, bristles, and other annelid characters, the phylum Sipuncula was later allied with the mollusca, mostly on the basis of development and larval characters. So currently, these two phyla have been included in a larger group, the Loptrocosa, that also includes the annelids, the ribbon worms, and several other phyla. And subsequent analysis of the mitochondrion's DNA recently has confirmed their close relationship to the Myxotusmida and Annelida. And so if you look at the pictures, the Sipuncula is over here on the bottom of the first graph, and the Sipuncula is also on the bottom of the graph. So how do they look? So they're bilaterally symmetrical. They're unsegmented marine worms. They're about 10 centimeters long usually, and they're tube shaped. So their anatomy. So the body is completely unsegmented, and the intestine forms a twisted loop with the anus on the side of the body. So typical of Sipunculas is a forward anterior body section called the introvert, which can be retracted into the body by the retractor muscles and used when necessary. So at the tip of the introvert is the mouth, which is surrounded by a ring of tentacles. The body cavity, or coelom, of the Sipunculans is large and filled with fluid, in which have free-floating cells and as well as free-floating clusters of cells. But one of them is called the hemerthrocytes, and the clusters are called ciliary urns. Sipunculans have no ciliary or respiratory systems, and so the fluid transports both nutrients and oxygen to all parts of the body. Okay, now on to reproduction. So they can do both asexual and sexual reproduction, and asexual is very rare, but it happens. Sipunculans reproduce asexually via transverse fission followed by regeneration of vital body components. And so most Sipunculan species are dioecious. Their gametes are produced in the coelomic lining, where they are released into the coelom to mature. Then they are picked up by the Metanpheridia system and released into the aquatic environment where fertilization takes place. So the growth. Although some species hatch directly into adult form, many have a larvae called a trochophoro larvae, which metamorphoses into the adult after anything from a day to a month, depending on the species. In a few species, the trochophore does not develop directly into adult, but an intermediate stage called the pelagosophoria that processes a greatly enlarged metatroch. So all the Sipunculids they're all marine. They all live near the water. They're all relatively common in shallow waters, either in burrows or in discarded shells, as hermit crabs live. Some bore into solid rocks to make a shelter for themselves. They're usually 10 centimeters long, but there are some that are like several times that length. So let's talk about their circulation system. They do not have a vascular blood system. Their fluid transport and gas exchange are instead accomplished by the coelom, which contains the respiratory pigment hymethrin, and the tentacular system. The fluid contains 5 types of coelomic cells: hymocytes, granulocytes, large multinuclear cells, ciliated urns, and immature cells. The ciliated urn cells may also be attached to the peritoneum and assist in waste filtering from the interstitial fluid. So nitrogenous waste is excreted through a pair of metanpherdia opening close to the anus, except in 2 of the species called Phascolin and Onchorsoma. Let's talk about the nervous system now. So the nervous system consists of a nerve ring, which is called the cerebral ganglion, which is around the oesophagus, and it functions as a brain, and a single ventral nerve cord that runs the length of the body. In some species, there are simple light-sensitive oculi associated with the brain. Two organs likely functioning as a unit for semorceptin are located near the anterior margin of the cerebral ganglion, and in addition, all Sipunculae have numerous sensory nerve endings on the body, especially at the forward end of the introvert. Now, how do they eat? Well, they burrow into mud where they eat organic matter and detritus they find. They gather food particles with the tentacles around their mouth, and they draw the food into their body with the introvert, and which is a segment near their mouth. And here's a picture. It shows the mouth, the introvert, and the anus, which is on the side of the body. Fun fact: the simple worm jelly is a delicacy in Southeast Fujian province of China, and it came originally from Anhai town of Quanzhai through the silk trade, and a lot of people eat it. It's a luxury food, and it's very expensive. Thank you for listening. Hope you like this peanut worm.